In this video, we're going to go over the blood flow through the heart. This is super important for you to have a basic understanding of before we start talking about any sort of heart abnormalities. So, something I want you to remember about arteries and veins. Arteries take blood away from the heart, and veins bring blood back to the heart. For the most part, arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood, except for pulmonary. The pulmonary artery and the pulmonary vein are opposite, and it'll make more sense as we go through it. So, the blood returns from the body unoxygenated through the superior and inferior vena cava. Both of these make their way into the right atrium. Okay, because I want you to remember that when you're looking at a heart, this is anatomically. So this is the right side and this is the left side. So the blood comes into the right atrium. It then passes through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. Now, when you're trying to remember the valves, remember that you try before you buy. So this is the tricuspid valve. Okay. So after the blood has made its way through the tricuspid valve and into the right ventricle, it then goes through the pulmonic valve in the pulmonic artery, because we're taking blood away from the body, pulmonic artery, and it goes to the lungs. That is why the pulmonic artery is carrying oxygenated blood, which is opposite of regular arteries. So once again, unoxygenated blood comes back from the body. Superior and inferior vena cava goes into the right ventricle, through the tricuspid valve, into the right atria, through the tricuspid valve, into the right ventricle, through the pulmonic valve, and then through the pulmonary artery to the left and the right lungs. Once the blood is in the lungs, it becomes oxygenated, and then it returns through the pulmonary vein, because it's bringing the blood from the lungs back to the heart. Remember, veins bring blood back to the heart. Now, this one's opposite as well, because the blood just came from the lungs, which means it is oxygenated. So again, every other artery takes blood away, is oxygenated. Every other vein brings blood back to the body, is unoxygenated. But the pulmonary artery is taking unoxygenated blood away, and the pulmonary vein is bringing oxygenated blood back into the heart. So that blood comes back in through the pulmonary vein into the left atria. Now the blood goes through the bicuspid or the mitral valve, remember, because you try before you buy, goes through the bicuspid or mitral valve into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, it goes up through the aortic valve and then through the aorta, and it is dispersed to the body.